I raised the price of my Etsy product by 83%. Not because I was selling out, not because I changed my materials, but because I ran an experiment and the results genuinely surprised me. When I launched, I was brand new. No sales history, no reviews, no credibility as a seller. So I did what most sellers do. I priced conservatively. I looked at what competitors were charging, I covered my costs, I considered Etsy's fees, and I landed on a number that felt safe. Not too high that I'd scare people away, but also not so low that I'd basically be giving my product away for free. Just safe. And it worked. I got sales. I actually got my first sale within 3 days. And things started moving from there. But here's what I didn't fully account for. Shipping. Etsy, like many other platforms, charges shipping separately by default. And I started to pay attention to how that looked from a buyer's perspective. And here's the thing. Buyers can see before they even click on a listing whether a product has free shipping or not. It's right there in the Etsy search. So some buyers were actively choosing my listing knowing that they'd have to pay shipping, and that's great. But I started thinking about all the buyers who scrolled right past my listing and looked for specific sellers who offered free shipping. And I can't tell you how many that was, of course, but I can guesstimate that it was probably a good amount. So I really started to think more on free shipping, and not as a discount, but as a repricing strategy more than anything. Because here's a full picture of what a buyer is looking at when they're considering a purchase. They see the item price, they click a listing, they see shipping added on top of that, and then at checkout, tax gets added too. Now, people expect to pay tax. That is not the issue. People aren't shocked by tax. But when you stack item price plus shipping plus tax, that is 3 numbers hitting a buyer before they even complete a purchase. And every additional number is an opportunity for them to pause and reconsider the purchase to begin with. So my goal with free shipping was to collapse that stack. Bake the shipping into the price so the buyer sees one clean number up front, clicks buy, pays tax at checkout like they expect to everywhere else, and then moves on. Less friction, simpler decision. So I redid my math and I looked at what my average costs were, because by this point I had enough sales under my belt to even be able to calculate an average shipping cost. I looked at what competitors with free shipping were charging for comparable products. I used Etsy's own pricing tools within their listing draft to kind of model it out. And then I readjusted my price to account for the included shipping and adjust for a new profit margin where I would still make some money off of that as I was previously. And when I ran all the numbers, the price that I came to was actually 83% higher than what I had initially launched with, which sounds like a lot, and it is. But the all-in cost to the buyer is actually comparable to or lower than some competitors who were still charging shipping separately. I wasn't overpricing, I was just repricing very honestly. Now here's the part that I find genuinely fascinating. After I raised the price, I got more sales. And I've been thinking about why, and part of that is definitely the free shipping. Etsy actively promotes free shipping in their listings so you get an organic bump in the search, which means more visibility right away. Part of it is the cleaner checkout experience, no sticker shock and less abandoned carts. But I also think the price itself played a role, and here's my theory. I feel like when a price is too low on Etsy, it can actually work against you. Buyers aren't just looking for the cheapest option. If they wanted that, they can go to a platform like Amazon or eBay. When they come to Etsy, they're looking for something that feels intentional, it feels special, it feels worth gifting or even owning. So they're already sort of primed to spend a more premium amount for a better quality product to begin with. So I feel like a price that's too low can actually quietly signal maybe the quality isn't there. Maybe this is cheap for a reason and I'm going to be disappointed with this purchase. And of course, I don't have any specific data or a study to cite this, but I really sat down and thought about my own behavior as an Etsy buyer. When I see something that is priced very low in a category that I know very well, I even hesitate. When I see something priced at what feels like it's worth, I do tend to trust it more. And I think my buyers responded the same exact way. Just to be clear about what changed and what didn't with my product. It was the same product, the same materials, the same photos, the same listing, the same everything. Nothing about the product itself changed, which is why I find the price increase so interesting. It wasn't the product that needed to improve. It was how I was presenting its value. So if you're a new seller and you price conservatively, which is totally fine, that's exactly what I did, I want you to revisit that number within the first 6 months of your shop. Not because you need to charge more, but because your price was probably informed as much by fear as it was by math. Once you have some sales, some reviews, some sense of what your product actually costs you in full, redo the math. And seriously consider free shipping, and not necessarily as a favor to buyers, but more as a conversion strategy. The psychology of a clean all-in-one price is real, and it definitely works. Buyers don't want to do math at checkout. They want to see a number, click buy, and move on, so make it easy for them. I, of course, am still figuring out my own pricing, and of course this won't be the last time that I adjust my prices, but the 83% increase with my own product taught me that pricing isn't just math. It's communication. Your price tells a buyer what your product is worth before they even click on the listing. Make sure it's telling the right story.